And welcome into another edition of Music Fanimal here on Fanimal Radio. I'm Tony Lombardi. Our special guest this week, Under the Covers, UTC. And from my right to the far right, we've got Brennan McShane, Brian Bourne. Welcome in, guys.
Hey, how are you? Nice to be here.
How's it going? Great to have you. So I got to ask you, first obvious question. Under the Covers. I think I kind of know where you're going with this, but explain the name a little bit.
That's a great question. Initially, I came from an original project, so when I heard the name Under the Covers, I thought it was, kind of fun, but not serious enough. But I slept on it, and I thought about it.
I feel part of the pun.
No pun intended. And realized it was a clever, fun name because we're a cover band,
right?
And then also, there might be some innuendo there as well. I'll leave that up for interpretation. But yeah, I thought that was a funny name, a catchy name, and I think anyone can kind of appreciate it and enjoy it. So that's kind of where that came from.
In talking to some of the other guests we've had here on Music Fanimal, there seems to be this connotation of some people thinking of cover bands as being not as good of musicians. But I know that's not the case because I've talked enough to you guys about that. But talk a little bit about being a cover band and maybe having to push ego aside in order to be a cover band.
Yeah, that's a great point. What you want has to come second in a cover band, and you have to learn that quick if you want to really have success. So you have to find out what people want to hear, you have to listen, you have to be dialed into different genres and really try to hit a broad spectrum and find out where your niche is. The fundamental differences, in my opinion, is that in original music, your CD is your product, right? Mm-hmm. So a lot of times they'll spend the work in the lab working on their sound or their style or their specific niche, and then they sell that, and that's ultimately their transport, so to speak. A cover band is really about performance and about that presentation, and when you're dealing with presentation, people listen with their eyes as well as their ears. So you really have to be dialed into things of how you sound, but also how you look, because people want to have a good time, they want to be entertained, and they want to be, that can be visual, that can be audio, that can be an array of different aspects of music that I've really come to learn and understand. So yeah, you grind it in the cover band. You have to play, you have to be out playing, you have to be out working. And I pride ourselves on that. We have a very aggressive schedule, and from a stage show perspective, we're out there working as hard as any band. And so I respect original as well as cover. And it's each journey's been great. I've done original, Brendan's done a lot of original, and cover's been very gratifying as well. So those are some of the differences that I've seen in my time in both aspects of music.
Listening with your eyes, I like that. So it's part of the package. And really, as a consumer of your kind of talent, whether it's out at a Looney's North or Looney's Perry Hall, wherever it happens to be, it seems to me that you just want to listen to things you're familiar with, things that you can attach yourself to. And you might have the greatest original songs in the world, but if I'm not familiar with it, I'm kind of not really interested in listening to it, at least not in that venue.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I've paid more attention to, I'll be honest, like YouTube views. That's something I look at because you want to hit as much of a cross-section as you can, because at the end of the day, you want to include everyone. That's what the journey of music is, at least to me, to be inclusive. So that's how I approach it. You look at different hits. We are, specifically Under the Covers, is a pop-heavy band. And there's a short shelf life for that. So we have to be constantly educating ourselves on different genres, what's popular, and also stepping outside of the box. And Under the Covers as a band has changed quite a bit over the years. And that wouldn't have been able to be possible if all of us didn't step out of the box. And that's hard to do sometimes, in any aspect of life, right? You can't be afraid of change. You can't be afraid to transform. And look, I believe this project has transformed a lot of times through failure, but most of all through success. And so both of those are part of the journey that has been Under the Covers. And I'm thankful for the good, the bad, and the ugly.
You talk about it being pop heavy and spanning different genres of music. Are there certain genres that you prefer to play? And are there certain genres that you have to play but really not too keen on it?
Well, if I had it my way, we'd be doing all polka tunes, but you know that probably wouldn't go
Seriously?
too far. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Chicken dance?
You know, honestly, I think one of our biggest strengths that just kind of, you know, happened by coincidence. I think we all kind of have pretty eclectic musical tastes. You know, like we all have like pretty broad spectrum of music that we listen to. So, you know, even if it's not something that I'd necessarily, you know, be searching out on iTunes to like, you know, buy for my own personal listening, like I think we have a way of like, you know, making the songs of whatever genre we play our own and, you know, finding a fun way to interpret them. You know, that's the good thing about live music is, you know, every band's going to play every song like a little bit differently. You know, even if they're playing it, you know, as note for note, you know, to the record as they can, you know, there'll always be those little slight nuances that make the songs come to life and make each song like unique for that particular band's interpretation. But I dig pretty much everything we play, honestly. I think the rock stuff's fun from a performance standpoint. I think some of the pop tunes are a fun challenge just to interpret because a lot of it's programmed. You know, it's you know, written on a computer, so interpreting that for live instrumentation is a fun challenge. So I know that's a long-winded answer, but I enjoy like, you know, all the different styles of music we play, I would say.
Well, that's really interesting to me because a lot of what you hear today in pop music is computer generated, even the voice, I guess, at times. So, you know, trying to make that into something that's live, I guess that takes a lot of work.
It's a fun challenge, yeah.
Yeah, no, it is. You have to embrace the challenge. You can't fake it because people will realize that on stage, right? So as Brendan said, you have to find a challenge within that genre, whatever it may be. And if you embrace that, I feel, and really own it, I think that's when the song comes to life in your own way. And when you do that, that's when you can engage more people. And I don't care what you're playing. If people are really into it and feeling good and having memories and experiences that are a part of their lives that they're going to remember, I mean, that's special, right? That's really what we're trying to do.
Absolutely. Take them away from their everyday life. That's what sports is supposed to do too.
Exactly.
Just a release from something that's, you know, the mundane things of our everyday lives. So talk a little bit about, you know, your influences. You know, what brought you guys to want to be musicians and then to play the kind of music you're playing today?
Well, I guess I can give you a brief little overview of my musical background. I mean, I started off, I mean, the earliest memories I can have is like banging on my grandmother's piano when I was a kid. I wouldn't really call it music, but you know, I'd use my ear and just try and figure out little melodies and doodles on her piano. I mean, she was great, but I didn't know what I was doing. I never took lessons or anything. I took a whack at playing the trumpet in elementary school, but that didn't go too well.
I didn't know that. How long did you play trumpet for?
About -5 days. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I couldn't make the fire engine sound through the mouthpiece. I started playing guitar when I was 13. I was self-taught. You know, I had a lot of bizarre habits I developed. I wouldn't say I was very good, but I started writing songs and you know, trying at least my best to play Jimi Hendrix licks and stuff. I ended up doing some original stuff towards the end of high school. Recorded a CD. And then I went on to study music in college, and then got a teaching job when I got back, and that's through my boss. Actually, that's how I met these guys, and I guess the rest is history. But yeah, I've been doing the cover band thing for 5 years, and you know, it's been great. Yeah, it's a lot different than, you know, playing in your bedroom for the best. You know, everything's always going to feel a little different in front of a live audience, and this guy crushes it as a front man and a singer, so it's been a fun ride, yeah.
So you talked about before listening with your eyes, and being the front man that you are. I noticed those glasses, all those Ray-Bans and those aviators and whatnot, and you've got the megaphone at times, so it's...
I don't know what you're talking about, Tony.
So, talk about how you incorporate that all into your stage presence.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I think you know, I am old school in the fact that I do follow the typical front man philosophy. You know, I always looked up to people like Scott Weiland from STP, you know, David Lee Roth, you know, you look at Eddie Vedder, Pearl Jam, all those types of frontmen, and they're all passion driven. That's what and you talk a little bit about influences. Music's been the vehicle, but self-expression in a healthy form has been the fundamentals of what music's been to me. And, you know, shades have always kind of, really was an insecurity thing, to be honest, because I couldn't see the crowd. And I would, in a sense, kind of take a metaphysical approach to where I would envision what I want the crowd to look like, what I want to be happening in my mind. So when I took it off, I would really see how close I would come to that after I kind of built up a little bit of confidence after the first couple songs. But from that, it's become ultimately a brand of mine that I've kind of embraced, and I do like changing it up, different looks, different feels, different sounds, and keeping it unique and keeping the crowd guessing, especially as a cover band. And one thing Under the Covers does try to do is never play the same show twice. And that ultimately means from diversity of song selection to clothing changes. I mean, I bring an array of, you know, clothes to change into. One, because I want to keep it different, but two, because it depends on how I'm feeling, you know, and I want to be able to express that. And I think people, they buy into that more so when it's true and it's honest to who you are. I think that's the fundamentals of music, right? Like being honest. I think that can really bring a similarity between everyone in the room by just putting that putting that forward. So just a couple little tips. I do all kinds of different things. Again, like I said, some have been not the best ideas and not successful. And
well, you never know until you try.
Exactly. That's kind of been my philosophy. So it's been fun. It's been a fun journey. Do you want to try them on, or?
I couldn't rock them like you did.
Okay.
So Brennan, what about you?
Sorry, what was the question again?
We were talking about the stage presence and the look. And I know you're a jack of all trades. You play a lot of different instruments.
Master of none. Hey, I try. Yeah, the keyboards, that's kind of a newer thing for me, but I love piano. You know, my fingers are a little slower on there, but you know, I feel like it's a very visual instrument.
It's a little bit more advanced than Grandma's piano?
A little bit, yeah. At least I hope so, most of the time. But yeah, you know, honestly, I can't work the stage quite like this man. You know, I'm a little more contained, I suppose. But you know, every night's going to be a little bit different. You know, we play a lot of awesome rooms, and we got a lot of great fans that come out. So that honestly makes it easy to jump around and perform. Yeah, but I do think it's important. You know, obviously it's different than, you know, being in like school jazz band or something. You know, like people want to feel like they're connected to what's going on stage, and if the guys on stage are having a good time, you know, that's going to always translate over well to the crowd. So
yeah, one of the things, and Brennan's real humble, so I'll speak up a little bit about that. But one of the things that makes Brennan unique is that he really lives in the notes and in the music, more so than anyone I've ever worked with, honestly.
Thanks.
And
what does that mean, living within the notes?
You know, it's funny when we talk about the presentation, you know, Brennan really just focuses on the music first. It's like his medicine almost. He needs it. He's so music driven that he really has been the musical director. He, you know, he hears things that other people don't hear. He's the one who knows how to transpose things from, you know, the digital, overproduced, you know, pop market to the live stage. And he knows how to hear something and know how to transpose it and, you know, transform it into a live show. You know, certain notes and certain aspects we try to recreate, certain things we may or may not be able to recreate. He is the best at taking that type of genre and bringing it to a real life. He knows the notes upside and down, whether it's harmonies, notes, things of that nature. If we're not sure what to do, he always has that ear that picks it up. I'm a lead guy. I've done harmonies on occasion, but I don't have that. He does. And it's, you know, it's an obsession. It's like a calling that he answers time and time again. We've really learned to benefit from that, and it's been remarkable. I mean, it really has. He's a true musician to the truest word and form of that. And, you know, he even has a degree in music from the University of Miami, so he's put in the work, he's put in the time, and he's studied all aspects of it. And, you know, he's been a big part of this transformation that we've made from more of a rock band to more than just that, of pop, of country, of, you know, dance music. To really be able to do that, you have to have a fundamental understanding of music. And Brennan is someone who brings that to this project in a way almost unlike any other. And it really is special, and it's a really true talent to have. And I'm thankful to have him a part of this project for all those reasons and more.
Thanks, sir.
You said that very well, didn't you?
Indeed.
So you guys are going to play 3 songs today.
Yes,
And the
sir.
first is going to be Shimmer by Fuel.
Yeah, I
Okay.
thought that'd be a nice way to break it in. It's a
All right.
nice 90s. That was a big influence to me, was 90s music. So we'll start with that.
All right, so we're going to take a break. These guys are going to play Shimmer by Fuel.
She called me from the cold, just when I was alone, feeling sure and stable. All that she intends, and all she keeps inside isn't on the label. She's a shame. Can she take me for a while? Can I be a friend? Well, forget the past, maybe I'm not able. Not break at the bend. Here and now, will we ever be again? 'Cause I have found all that shimmers endless, while it's sure to fade away again. So far away from me to hold, so far away, so far away from me to hold, so far away, guess I'll let it go.
Welcome back to Music Fanimal here on Fanimal Radio. Great rendition of the Fuel song, guys. And by the way, you rock those things.
Oh, thank you. I try.
No, good song. And so I got to tell you a quick story about the glasses. When you wear them, it makes me think of Bono. And there was a time back in the day, I think it was even before Joshua Tree. He was down at the University of Maryland. He was playing down. It was raining, and he slipped on the stage. Found out later that he broke his collarbone.
Oh, wow.
And he's riveting on the stage, and there's a guy right near us saying, "Look at that dude, he's really getting into it."
Oh
he
my
was
gosh.
just really in pain, but he was just spinning around on the stage, but he kept going. Kept
Wow.
going, worked his way right through it.
That's incredible.
So-
That's insane. It's
Yeah.
a warrior.
I think they've only performed Baltimore twice. That was probably the first
I was
time.
at one of them.
Well, that was
Yeah.
at the University of Maryland. I
And
forgot
then
what
the
they called that
360
arena.
tour. It might not, I guess, yeah, I think they've only been to Baltimore a handful of times, so that was one of the few. And I think they actually wanted to, I heard this somewhere, that they wanted to ultimately use Memorial Stadium after it was no longer in use as one of their rehearsal areas, and Baltimore didn't allow that. So it was just a small kind of side detail that was interesting. I really wish they had.
Why? What's a good reason to say no to that?
I know. So I thought it was a missed opportunity there. But anyway, great band, and that's a really cool story.
So let's talk about some of you guys' accomplishments individually. Brian, you've done some things on your own. Walk us through your life and how you got to this point.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think a lot of my musical drive started when I moved from Foxborough, Massachusetts. You know,
Are you a Patriots fan?
well,
Yes, you are.
So yeah, I grew up in Foxborough. When I moved, you know, it was high school when you're very emotional and kind of those typical teen years, lots of angst, and music became the kind of the healthy outlet for me. And one of my kind of dreams and goals as a young, you know, punk was to go back and play Foxborough and Boston. So in terms of some of my biggest accomplishments, you know, I went back and I did play Foxborough for one of my best friends' 30th birthday parties in front of like 200-300 people that I grew up with, and that was very fulfilling to me. And then also we were able to go play TD Garden, which is, you know, ultimately Boston's Garden, their arena, downtown Boston, in front of 5,000-6,000 people.
Yeah, that was insane.
And so that, you know, that was very symbolic to me.
Were you doing it on your own, or were you opening for someone?
So we actually were invited by the NCAA sports team to play the men's hockey NCAA championship. It was Frozen Four weekend, and they brought us from Baltimore to come and play. And it was a big spectacle, big to-do, and the teams walked through the red carpet, and we were playing music, and there's different activities going on. And it was just they love hockey up there, needless to say.
Right.
The Frozen Four is real big in Boston. So I grew up watching as a kid, you know, and so, and Boston I think was even in the final that year, Boston University. So it was all those things coming together as one was a big accomplishment of mine personally. I think professionally, a couple things. I gotta give a shout out to the Bel Air Bash. That was something I did at St. Margaret Parish, the teen center. We had about 1,000 kids a show, and we had, you know, several bands that were a part of it, and they were original predominantly, and they would sell merch. We raised a lot of money for nonprofit, for American Red Cross when it was Hurricane Katrina relief efforts, suicide awareness efforts, you know, American Diabetes Association. And that to me really demonstrated the power of local music to make an impact in the community. And I was really proud of that, and to see young people harnessing their passion and skills through music. I never once played it, never once, but it taught me more about music than I could have ever learned from the stage. And I think the last thing that I think is important to mention that I really appreciate now through the years of being in the industry is the team of players I have with me now, from Brennan McShane to John Adams to Steve Iori, just to name a few of people that we play with now today, who are guys that have great character. They're individuals that I trust. They're individuals that have my back, and we go to battle with each other, for each other, and it's important to be surrounded by people that have your best interests at heart, that you can trust and become, over time, family, because we spend a lot of time with each other. And to have those relationships and be surrounded by people with great character, great skill sets, is really special. And I might not have noticed that in my earlier years. It was more about musical skill set, which is still important, don't get me wrong. All these guys are great players. But character as well has become something that has factored into a lot of my choices. And very thankful for the guys I got with. We'll go to battle any day, anywhere, any place with these guys. I'm very thankful to be a part of this team.
Well, that's a key point. I mean, the team, it is a team when you're in a musical band, and it's important to understand each other's idiosyncrasies, each other's strengths and weaknesses, and you touched on it before, Brian. It's like, you know, Brennan can do one thing and you do another thing. You're the front guy. You recognize his role in the team, and that's really important. So talk about some of the other guys in the band and what some of their backgrounds are.
Yeah, well, Steve Iori is our drummer. I've known Steve for a long time. He's been in a lot of great projects that have had a lot of success. So he's been there, done that. He's a trooper, man. He never complains. never, you know, asks for anything. He just gives more and more to the project, and you really appreciate that. You know, he's always putting the band first, and I really lean on him a lot to, you know, as far as, you know, with his industry experience to, you know, how to approach certain things, different relationships, because he's got a lot of connections, he's had a lot of success, and he's got a lot of credibility, you know, and so his word means a lot. And so, you know, we use that, we lean on that, and I've learned from him a great deal. John Adams is just a guy who finds a way to get it done. No matter what the problem is, he is a solutions guy, and you cannot underappreciate that. You know, it is kind of overappreciated actually, because, you know, when you're on the line, it's do or die time. And you have a lot at stake, and it's live music, and a lot of things can go wrong, whether it's equipment, whether it's different needs, fill-ins, I mean, all types of challenges that come. John, time and time again, goes above and beyond what this project needs to make sure that we hit our goals, and that we deliver the product we want to. And he's just great. He's really helped you know, organize this from an internal perspective, internal business, the things you don't see. And there's a lot that goes into that. And I think I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Starley Entertainment as well, and Gary Hudson, obviously Rob Byer as well, leading the helm. You know, but Gary in particular has been a real mentor to me. And I think I value that relationship a great deal, because his win is my win, and my loss is my loss. I'm just kidding. But at the end of the day, Gary's done a lot for this project and has really invested in me as a person, and as well as this project. And I'm extremely grateful, and we would not be where we are without his involvement. And so I'm extremely grateful for all that Starley Entertainment has done. They're Baltimore based, and that was one of the main reasons I went with Starley. You know, when we started out, we got a lot of attention from a lot of the agents on the East Coast, but it really, to me, came down to quality of character and investment in me as an individual, as well as a performer, because I needed that. I was a high-risk kid as a young age, and I kind of need someone to tell me what I don't want to hear, and I mean that in a good way. And Gary has done that in a lot of ways. Kept me humble, kept me focused, and it's been a great relationship. And a lot of the success we're having now just feels good.
How do you respond to people telling you what you don't want to hear?
You have to listen. I mean, you have to listen, and you have to try to figure out their...
Is that an acquired skill through time?
I've had to, yeah, absolutely. You have to learn to listen, and you try to judge, not judge, but you try to understand what the individual's intentions are. And if they're good, if they're positive, if they want good for you, then whatever they say, I embrace it, right? If someone wants to hurt you and say bad things, that's a different thing, right? You got to block out negativity, and there's a lot of that noise, just as much as you have to block out the hype. You know, one thing I'll never forget that Gary said to me early on is, don't believe the hype. And that really has helped me stay grounded, because there's a lot going on out there, man, and it's really easy to get swept away with a lot of the wrong things. And I think as a team, we've done a good job staying focused on what's important and what will make us better and what will help us continue to hit our goals. So that's a couple ways I approach that.
So you mentioned Starley. How can people see you guys play? Where can they see you play? Can they hire you?
Check us out at underthecoversonglines.com.
Because I saw you guys at my son's wedding.
Yes, yes.
Let me tell you, folks.
Yeah, that was a
If
good
you were
time.
ever worried about a wedding being dead or not exciting, hire these guys. Because let me tell you something. Even the oldest of the older folk that were at this wedding, they were on the dance floor. It was amazing.
Hey, and all this
Great
talk,
job.
all this talk of you know, performance. We got another pretty awesome front man in the house right here.
The secret weapon.
Yeah.
Little twist and
Can do
shout.
a mean
Well,
John Lennon.
I'll tell you how that started. Tyler was in the back, my son, and whose wedding it was. He was in the back of the room, and we happened to be at the same table, and you guys started into Twist and Shout. And he said to me, "Dad, it's for you." I said, "It's only for me unless I sing it." He grabbed me by the shoulder and took me up there, and I don't know what he said to you. It didn't take long.
He didn't need to say anything, I understood, but you killed it. I got
Yeah,
to
that was awesome, man.
Yeah,
That was
this
awesome.
guy, don't let him fool you, man. He can get it. He can throw it down. That was great. The crowd
I
went
didn't even
nuts.
give these guys Patron before they walked in. It was the Patron saying, you can sing, get up there and sing it.
That's great.
So, you guys want to play another one?
Yeah, absolutely.
Got it.
That sounds great.
So you got Neon Trees from Neon Trees, the
Yep.
song is Everybody Talks.
That's right.
Yes,
Everybody
sir.
Talks. So take it away, guys.
Thank you.
Hey baby, won't you look my way? I can be your new addiction. Hey baby, what you gotta say? All you're giving me is friction. I'm a sorry sucker and it happens all the time. I found out that everybody talks, everybody talks, everybody talks. It started with a whisper, and not when I kissed her, and then deep in my lips burn. I'm in the chit chat, take me to a love shack. Mama's always got a bad track when everybody talks, babe. Hey baby, what you gotta say? I can be your new addiction. Too much, give me another dose on this track that makes you pretend. Oh my, shoot. Everybody talks, everybody talks, everybody talks. It started with a whisper, but now when I kissed her, and then you made my lips hurt. I can hear the chit chat, let me be a love shack. Mama's always got a bad track when everybody talks, babe. Never thought I'd live to see the day when everybody's Snapchat got in the way. Hey sugar, show me all your love, all you're giving me is fiction. Hey sugar, what you gotta say?
UnderTheCoversOnline.com.
It started with a whisper, and I when I kissed her, and then it made my lips burn. I'm in the chit chat, take me to a love shack. Mama's always got a back check when everybody talks, babe. Everybody talks, everybody talks, everybody talks, everybody talks, everybody talks, everybody talks, babe. It's like in the whisper, everybody talks, when I kiss her, everybody talks, everybody talks, everybody talks, babe.
And welcome back to Music Fanimal here on Fanimal Radio. Everybody talks. He's got the swag going on. So, speaking of everybody talking, you guys let me know a little story that affects you or affected you, Brennan. You actually played for President Trump before he was president.
I did indeed.
Tell
I
that
did
story.
indeed.
I'm sure everybody would like to hear that.
It was at the PGA golf tournament in Doral, Florida, I believe. Yeah, my band at the time, we got asked to play this show, and Donald Trump rolled up onto the golf course in his Escalade, said a few words. Yeah, it was pretty wild.
Can you sing Twist and Shout?
That he didn't. It would have been a whole lot cooler if he did, but unfortunately he didn't. But I'm sure he could do a pretty awesome rendition of that as well.
So now, I know you're a multi-talented musician, playing a lot of different instruments, but you also teach.
I do, yeah. I teach guitar, piano, ukulele, production, and like band program classes at Stages Music Arts. Our general manager and our program director, Charles Simon, he's actually the one who introduced me to Brian 5 years ago. So yeah, if y'all need some music lessons, check us out. Stages Music Arts in Cockeysville. It's a good time.
Good stuff. So you guys have some upcoming gigs. Talk about those a little bit and where you'll be playing.
Yeah, we're really excited about Massanutten Ski Resort in Virginia.
It's a fun place. I saw Rob Byers' band play there last year.
Oh, they're great. Yeah, they'll be there New Year's Eve as well. So and he'll be actually coming up, I believe, for one of the shows as well. So we're actually playing right before, which is the weekend in between Christmas and New Year's. So it's the 28th and 29th, I believe, of December. And that's a Friday, Saturday, and it's a wonderful location. We love it there. We also have New Year's Eve, which is going to be Looney's North in Bel Air. We were thinking about taking New Year's Eve off, and because it's been a while, but when we got that call, we had to take it because we initially hailed from Bel Air, and so we're really looking forward to that. We're actually going to have, the theme is Picture This. And so we're going to have a photo booth set up. We're going to have a live video shoot going on as well, streaming. We're also going to put out a video after so that we can have everyone's experience ultimately ingrained in time. We want to have those pictures. We want everyone to come have fun. We want them to be involved. So the whole theme of New Year's Eve at Looney's North is Picture This. So that'll be a really great time. We'd like to invite everyone to come out. Again, that's in Bel Air. And then one other piece that is near and dear to our heart is the Polar Bear Plunge on January 26th. That's a Saturday, and that's in Annapolis. That's at Sandy Point Park.
Where there are Ravens fans.
That's right. That's right. Hey, respect. We love the UTC loves the Ravens, 100%. We do. And I believe the donations are going to autism awareness and education. So I think that's a really great cause. There's a lot of really great groups out there already working to raise awareness and interest. And so it's great to be a part of something like that as well. So those are a couple big ones that are coming up within the next month or two.
And you guys are also investing in some paraphernalia and swag and whatnot. Are those things going to be available at all these venues coming up?
Absolutely. We're working now. There'll be new merch coming up. Shout out to Anchor Print Shop. We got hoodies, we got shirts, we got hats, we got all kinds of things, sunglasses. I know everyone's going to want their own pair of BB UTC glasses. I got you. I got you. I got you. Mom, I'm hooking you up for free. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? All those laptops in the basement making noise, go pay that now. But anyway, we got a lot of really cool stuff lined up there. We also had a recent...
How about covers? You got some covers. Under the covers of covers.
We have some
Oh,
cool
that's
covers.
a good one, man. I like that. I love that.
Get your own bed sheets.
I like that.
Be washable.
So who's doing your video?
It's going to be Matt Gishel. He's phenomenal.
You did mention, okay.
Yeah, he's phenomenal. He did our new 2019 promo video, which you can find at YouTube, UTC MD Band. That's our YouTube name. You can see our 2019 promo video. He did a phenomenal job, phenomenally talented cinematographer. He's going to also be there for New Year's Eve, so he'll be shooting as well. So check that out, stay tuned, and we'd love for you all to be a part of that video because you're a part of this journey as well. So a couple really cool things going on for us.
A lot of good things going on for you guys. So you've earned it. So you got this original song you're working on now, and tell us a little bit about that, the inspiration behind it, and maybe a genre of music you can compare it to.
Yeah, so this song in particular is a song that I wrote when I was about 19 years old.
Okay.
And I won't get too much into the details, but it's called Judgment of the Peace. And it was influenced by some things that were going on in the late 90s, and specifically school violence. And I felt that it was necessary to kind of bring it back again because the message is still strong. It's just a focus on you know, the impact that these types of incidences were having on young people, you know, and as a young person seeing this happen in high schools across America, when I saw Columbine, it just ripped my heart out of my chest, and the only way I could express that was through a song. And so it's a healthy outlet to a challenging situation, and that's really what it was to me. And so to make an act of violence is to make a judgment of the peace. And that's what ultimately, you know, that song was about. And I thought it'd be fun to just throw it out there. One of the things we wanted to highlight today, Tony, was to share things with fans that they did not know about us. And I think that's a piece that you know, could be interesting, because we haven't performed this, we haven't played it in many, many years. And I think I'm going to put a challenge out there. If this you know, show gets over 1,000 views on YouTube, we will re-release this song, including a music video. So that's the challenge out there.
That's a great challenge.
You know,
Help us out, folks.
Let's do it.
So, you guys are going to play. Now, when you sit down to write the song, did you write the words first, the music come to mind, or did it come together?
Yeah, well, when I was writing a lot of music, it was mostly the emotions that came to me first, and then the words. And I usually would do it in math class. My teacher busted me all the time, but she knew I wasn't going to stop. It was like my therapy. And so I would write the words and have this message that just, you know, these feelings and that would pour out of me. And I kind of would tinker and write and learn and kind of stumbled my way through songs. I had to really work at it. Things didn't come naturally. Never took music theory, even though I did take in music classes, you know, as a young individual. That's ultimately how a lot of the songs I wrote came to me. The emotions, the lyrics, and then kind of stumbling around till it just seemed to kind of fit.
The name of the song again?
Judgment of the Peace.
All right. So these guys are going to perform Judgment of the Peace right here on Music Fanimal.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Are the ones who set you free. More and more stumbling upon our travels. Why do the blind claim they see? Another made a judgment of the peace. Another made a judgment of the peace. Yeah. God, maybe He will change us, but it's not helping as far as I see. TV's all around and your jaw is on the ground. Another made a judgment of the beast.
Thanks for joining us today on Music Fanimal here on Fanimal Radio. Special thanks also to my guests from Under the Covers, Brian Bourne, Brennan McShane.
Tony, thanks for
joining
having us,
guys.
man.
My pleasure.
Tony.
Great time, guys.
Thank you.
Best of luck to you.